Hey, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be right now. I'm Lisa Bedford, the Survival Mom. I'm here with my husband, Stephen, and I was going to do a tutorial on solar generators. And as I began to kind of put some thoughts and notes together, I thought, you know what? I think I need an expert here. And here's the expert. Stephen, you want to say hi?
Hello.
Just switch that a little bit. Yes, I wanted to touch on solar generators because I think a lot of times when you first hear, I'll talk to about myself only. I won't make assumptions about you. Hi there, Margaret. Um, when I first learned about solar generators, I was convinced, and maybe you are too, or you were too, that it was just the ultimate solution. It was the ultimate solution. We're going to talk about all the pros of a solar generator in just a few minutes. But I just knew that that was what we wanted. And I talked to my husband about it. We looked at some Goal Zero, big Goal Zero products. And it was just going to just be the ultimate. And however, kind of the more I talked to Stephen about it, and we kind of hashed this back and forth, we realized that there is a place and a time and a place for a solar generator in your preps. And we're going to share with you kind of our conclusions and our thoughts. And I also have a great printable for you. The printable is a self-assessment that actually will give you, kind of walk you through to making the decision if you even need a printable. We live in hurricane country, and I was actually surprised at the number of people in a recent discussion in one of our little towns forum. How many people were like, we don't plan on getting a generator, and we've lived for a week or 2 weeks without a generator during Hurricane Ike or Harvey or whatever, and we didn't need one. Well, my assessment is going to help you decide if you do need one or not, because I do believe that there are many cases where it's just life-saving, where you want to have that, for just family members, for loved ones, and it's not an option. So let's take a look. First of all, we see quite a few people here so far. Hi, everybody. So a solar generator. Stephen, could you just give us just a little definition of what is a solar generator?
Sure.
Keep it short.
The very short of it is a set of solar panels that has via some cable to a battery bank. That's it in a nutshell.
That was really quick. I thought it'd be longer.
But that's really the heart of the whole matter. Know how large your set of batteries are and how many panels that's all. That's where the variables come in.
Okay, and so the panels, that is, I'm going to just kind of scroll up so I can see. We have people joining us from Arizona. Where are you from, by the way, as we chat? I'd love to see where you're from. So the solar generator, it's some kind of a battery bank. It's going to hold the charge.
Correct.
And it has a cord attached to it.
Right.
And then solar panels.
Correct.
All right. I have seen some DIY projects for solar generators that you could make on your own. They tend to be very heavy, don't they?
Yes. So solar panels are not discrete by nature. They're a bit large because you want to, and then they're flat because you're trying to get the most surface area on one side exposed to the sun in order to collect that photovoltaic energy. And then, of course, with the advent of lithium batteries, the weight and size has gone down. But the Yeti, so I'll talk about Goal Zero. I'm familiar with them. The Yeti 3000 is I think around 50 pounds, whereas that's the lithium-ion battery. The old NiCads were 110 or 120 pounds. So the technology is catching up, where the battery sizes are getting smaller, where it's moving. The amount of room they take up and what they can store has increased greatly over the years. But still, you have to have a battery, and you have to have solar panels, and you have to have real estate on the roof, in the yard, or somehow for the solar panels, and then of course with batteries, storing them and using them somewhere.
And I think that's one reason why, maybe the reason why, a lot of times I've seen these on wheels. And so one DIY project, he had, just the kind of the base unit, the base unit, and they had large panels, and they were all on something similar to a moving dolly, like if you're going to be moving furniture. He had something on like that, and I was thinking about it because you'd want to put it out in an area. This would actually be, let's talk about the cons, the disadvantages. of this that we've discovered. It's heavy, so you will most likely want it on something that's portable, because you're going to have to put it outside where the panels, the whole entire unit, can catch the rays of the sun. And so one disadvantage is that if you live in an area that's very shady, like we do, we live basically in a forest, and it might be difficult. We're going to talk about the charging times in a minute. It might be difficult to get that fully charged depending on how much sun you have.
You would not get enough exposure in our neighborhood.
Right. Maybe we'd put it on our roof, but that would be really heavy.
Well, and even then we have enough tree around our house that wouldn't, there's not a lot, again, not a lot of real estate.
Yeah.
Sun-wise for charging.
And then you would want to be able to, well, you would need to be able to transport the whole unit then into your house, so then you could actually use the energy.
Correct. So like with the Goal Zero setup, the cord between the solar panel and the battery charge is not very long, so you've got to keep them in close proximity. If you have more of maybe a permanent setup where you have the panels maybe outside and you have them on wheels where you can point them towards the sun to get the best exposure, and then a long enough cable where you can store have your batteries inside. You know, that's possible. That would be one way to handle that situation, but most people don't have the ability to run cables and cords all over the place.
Right. I mean, even just having the traditional portable generators, sometimes portable generators weigh a couple hundred pounds, but you have those cords going everywhere, and that's a complaint people have, because they have the cords, they have to buy the cords, and then they have to keep track of what's plugged in, and that could be inconvenient. Yes, what were you going to say?
And how much energy they're using. So if you have something that you don't need to use your battery bank for, you're gonna have to go manually disconnect it.
Now, another disadvantage, and we'll talk about the advantages in a minute, but one thing we discovered, along with the fact that you have to have an area that's going to get full sun for the whole entire charging time, when we began researching the charging times, I was kind of shocked. So I asked Stephen to print this out for me so I could give you the exact information. And this is based on Goal Zero. Goal Zero is just probably the best known.
If I had to choose one, they would be the ones I would choose.
So if we were going to charge a
I believe that's the Yeti 1000.
Okay, Yeti 1000. Then you can charge this plug it into a wall. Okay, so as long as you have electricity and you want to get that charged, your generator charged, or keep it charged, just plug it into an outlet for 18 hours. That's a long time.
18 straight hours.
18 hours. Then we began to talk about the solar panels.
Those solar panel packs,
Okay, so the one solar panel pack, what is that, 50 maybe?
Well, that's 50 watt.
Okay.
50 watt panel.
Okay, so 50 watt panel would take 32 to 80 hours to charge the unit. And for a larger solar panel, is that physically larger?
So the two panel, the double.
Okay, 100.
So you would have it, so you'd be 16 and 40.
16 to 40 hours.
Right. And the 16 hours would be your best conditions. So
yeah, right.
Most people don't always have the best conditions, or you're not out there constantly adjusting panels.
And then the next size up, it would be
8 and 20.
Somewhere between 8 and 20 hours. So right away we discovered that the charging time, if there was a big crisis and the energy supply was depleted pretty rapidly, how long would it take before it was fully charged again, where it would be actually fully useful to you? And so we thought
you don't get 40 hours in a day of sunlight. So
right. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Depending on where you are on your latitude.
So if we say that 100, this would be a double solar panel,
yeah,
he said?
That's 2 panels, correct.
He thinks it's 2 panels between 16 and 40 hours. Well, as soon as the sun goes down, now you're going to start over on the next day when the sun comes up. So we felt that was a disadvantage that not many people realize. And then also we discussed about how quickly the power was depleted.
Can be, yes.
Okay, can you address that?
Sure. Like the Yeti 1000 that we're talking about, it actually would not handle the startup of a refrigerator. I've actually tested that with a very new, very energy efficient refrigerator, and the startup requirement for the compressor on the refrigerator was enough to trip the unit out. So you would have to get the 1400, I think it is, or the 3000 in order to be able to handle it just like a regular home refrigerator. So you got that to take into consideration. And then if you have a CPAP machines, we've actually had discussion with people on your group here. A CPAP machine runs, if you use it overnight, it runs constantly. Yeah. It does not cycle on and off like a refrigerator would. So if you had a Yeti 3000, you could probably handle a refrigerator for a whole day, let's just say. And then a CPAP machine, I think you get 6 hours out of it. I don't think you could even get 8 hours because it runs constantly. So those are considerations. Although the Yeti now has, you can daisy chain. They have units you can daisy chain to expand your amp hours, the length of time that you can use your equipment.
One question is, how large of a solar generator can you get? You mentioned the daisy chaining, which would maybe change.
Yeah, so the Yeti 3000, I think is the one you can daisy chain. So that would be your first one. So 3000 amp hours of energy, and then I think you can daisy chain 4 of their expansion units on that. That's a relatively new product, and I actually have not researched that. It was coming out late last year.
Okay.
When I was looking into it.
So the disadvantages, we just told you, it's large, it's going to be heavy, full sun, and a long charging time, and depending on what you plug into it, it can be depleted pretty quickly. The advantages, though, it's soundless. The only sound that would be emitted is whatever you happen to plug into it. It doesn't have any fumes, so you can have it inside the house.
If you keep it in the house, put it in whichever room you need it.
And he mentioned the CPAP machine, medical equipment. It would be there for that. You can keep it easily indoors. So there are advantages. And as I mentioned when we first started, that if you have medical equipment that is really vital, then this may be an investment that you want to make. And any idea what the dollar amount was on some of these?
I think the Yeti, I'm going to be a liar. I know the Yeti 1000 was $1,100.
Okay.
So you're paying about $1 per. And I think the Yeti 3000, it was either 25 or 3000. $2,500, $3,000.
Okay.
They are pricey, but if that's what you need and is actually the best fit for your situation, that it may be worth the investment for you.
The printable that I have for you, it's an assessment of whether or not you need a generator, whether it's a solar generator, a home full house generator. Those are the really expensive ones, or a portable generator, which can be really small, just hand carried, or it can be something that weighs 150 to 200 pounds. So that self-assessment will give you some insights into, do you want this for comfort? Just because you want to have, maybe a little air conditioning unit going, or you want to have your, access to whatever, so it's life as normal, or is it more necessity? And we've talked about, just the medical equipment as just one factor. So do go get that, the printable. It's thesurvivalmom.com/solar generator, and I will send it to you via email. And then also,
I'd like to add one advantage. If you're in a climate where you maybe only need a little bit of electricity, let's say at night, you don't need air conditioning, and it's cool enough you refrigerate. If you left your refrigerator off for a little while, it's like the Goal Zero, again, because I'm the most familiar with that, like the Goal Zero, you can buy little LED lights, you can charge your phones, and you can kind of keep the real micro energy, I'll call them, devices going at night without having to run an entire whole house generator or running a gas generator outside for larger equipment. So that's another advantage.
And then I remember, and we're going to wind this up, but I remember you saying that you don't, in your opinion, this isn't a true generator. And we may have people arguing with that, which is fine, but explain why you don't think this is like a generator, like a Generac or a portable generator. What's the difference?
So I think if you go with the straight definition, you can make this setup fit that. However, I look at it as more of an energy storage system.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, in the National Electrical Code, they treat batteries like this as an ESS, an energy storage system. So I think of more as just you charge it and then you store it, and it's not predictable. So clouds can come in. The sun is up, clouds, shade, whatever, completely affect the functioning and production of that unit. And also, you can't, while the panels are producing energy, you cannot necessarily use that energy directly without the battery supplementing that. Whereas a traditional gas generator, if you have gas and you put the gas in there, it runs. Period. Is the gas got enough sunlight, or is it day or night? It just the fuel. That's where, to me, where the kind of line draws. Fuel source. If you have the fuel source, you have energy. And again, you can just argue that back and forth, but I think more of the storage system.
Yeah, when we were talking about this a couple of 2 or 3 years ago,
Yep,
we were like,
a lot of times.
you know, what is a solar generator? I mean, is it just a big gigantic battery that you charge up and you plug things into it? But we've given you the pros and cons. You know, the pros are just, you know what it is. It's it's like a storage unit attached with some kind of a cable or cord to solar panels. The advantages are that it's quiet. You can keep it indoors. There's no fumes. You can plug a number of things into it. The disadvantages are the amount of charging time, the fact that it needs full sun, and a charging time span of 50 hours or 60 or more. That is daylight hours we're talking about, not in the middle of the night. And just the expense. It is it's an expensive prep. It's expensive to add, and you may think, well, we're better off buying a smaller portable generator and then just doing what we have to do to store the fuel for that. So I wanted you to know all about solar generators, because I know there is a lot of interest in it. When you first initially hear about it, you think, you know, that is just that's the ultimate. You know, we're going to save up money. We're going to get ourselves a solar generator. But I wanted you to know the pros and the cons, and a little bit about just how it might be used.
Right.
And your opinion of this is that your advice. Let's go with your advice.
My advice is you have to look at the totality of your desires, or actually even your needs, and then determine if you're in an apartment complex on the 10th floor, that might be the generator for you. In order to buy you some time in the case of an event of any kind. You know, I mean, we have a few of the smaller, almost about book size units ourselves, but we had them completely charged when Harvey came through, and we used them.
Yeah.
So maybe not the larger 1,000, getting 1,000 or 3,000 might not be in the budget for you, but right there, smaller units definitely might satisfy the need for the smaller energy users in your home. Again, you know, you may, if we had a whole house generator and it was 60 degrees outside, we would kind of open the windows, turn the generator off, and if we needed to charge anything, we would use our little, we had the Nomad, so we would use our little Nomads to charge our phones and not incur the cost and then the noise of running the whole house generator. So it's a different layer. It's a usable layer, and depending on your situation, it might be the layer for you.
And then one question is, how long does it stay charged? So we have it fully charged either through a wall outlet, which is a real, I mean, as long as you have electricity, you might as well just plug it in and just leave it there for, a couple of days, and it's charged. How long would that charge last?
I wouldn't say indefinitely, but kind of depends on your climate and where it's stored. It can last quite a long time.
Months?
Yeah, I would say a lot of months.
Okay.
Especially if you're in a cool, dry environment, you're not out in the heat, humidity.
Right. And we have one question about the solar generator sold by 4 Patriots. We will take a look at that. Stephen will take a look at that.
I looked at that, but it's been quite a while.
Okay, and we'll have an answer. Lynn, I think that you were the one who asked about that. We'll have an answer for you, if not today, within the next 24 hours or so. The important thing is, first of all, decide if you even need a generator. All right. It seems as though when people talk about preps and yeah, we're getting our food storage and we have our Berkey here, and we have our water filters and we have our bug out bags and we have, we're going to get a generator. I want you to take my self-assessment, because you may decide, you know what, if a generator is going to be $1,100, if it's going to be $500, $25,000, depending on what kind you might get, what else could you put that money toward? Would that be a better choice for you? So you need my self-assessment. And that is thesurvivalmom.com/solar generator. And you will get that just within minutes of just submitting that form. So thank you for being here. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about summer again. As we're recording this, it's 108 degrees, or it was 108 degrees earlier in Paris. People are freaking out everywhere. And so after living a lifetime in Phoenix, which is one of the hottest places in the, the country, the world, maybe. In fact, on our wedding day, I think it was 121 degrees. And right in the middle of our reception, the power went out because of the heat. So we know a few things about summer. And so tomorrow I'm going to be talking about heat, summer. I have some tricks for you that I have put together in another printable for you. And that's coming tomorrow, again, about the same time, 5-ish, 6-ish or so, probably 5-ish. So thanks for being here. And if you have questions, you can add them to the ones that are already here. And both of us will work toward getting those answered. Thanks.
Thank you.